Hi, Frank.
Hey, Dan. We are back at it again, my friend.
We are, yeah, still on the airwaves.
Still on the airwaves. They have not canceled us yet, although they would probably like to.
I know. Yeah. We speak the
2020.
truth. We speak the
Yeah,
truth. Yeah,
100%. That's right. Our
yeah,
purpose is to discover the truth, despite what
yeah.
some people out there really believe about us. For those of you who are just joining us in, we have a little bit of some show news and some updates. First of all, if you are listening to us primarily on a podcast platform, you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever your podcast platform is being hosted. That's great. We really, really appreciate it. But I have some information for you. If you go over to our YouTube channel, you're going to find some additional content that is not going to be found on the regular podcast. So if you listen to Apple Podcasts, you're going to be hearing Dan and myself. We're going to be discussing a lot of very, very important topics to John Reid and Associates, but also to investigations in general. However, the YouTube channel, Dan, is going to have some additional stuff that's going to be hanging out there. Special offers from John Reid and Associates, for example, on January the 11th, and this episode is going to be dropping before then, it is Human Trafficking Awareness Day. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing blue in honor of that. And I think Dan meant to wear blue. I don't know if he, maybe we can do some editing. We can make it a blue shirt. So
It is blue. It's just real dark.
it's really dark blue.
Dark
That's right.
blue. Yeah.
I like
yeah,
it. It's patrol blue. How about
Yeah.
that?
All right.
But John Reid and Associates, we are offering a one-day seminar, aren't we, Dan, on
Yes,
human
we are.
trafficking? That's right. Very unique social dynamics on that. So, and the reason why I bring this up, I'm going to tie this back to what I was saying about information on the podcast, links and everything where you can find out how to sign up for that. You will actually find that on our YouTube page. If you go under post, you will see an email. You're going to see contact information to sign up for it. So that's just some other additional information that you would get. Dan and myself have also been producing additional videos that are dropping only on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to, go ahead and head over there and check it out. And yep, that's right. And if you like Read on the Record podcast, if this is bringing you joy, if it is enhancing your life, if it's helping you with your job, don't worry about liking it. Don't worry about any of that stuff or commenting. Do us a favor. Dan, I would really appreciate it if our listeners and viewers could share this with someone who's a friend or colleague. What do you say?
I agree, and I've been trying to do that as well, Frank. And you don't have to be an investigator just to sign on. It's good information. It's interesting information, and dispels a lot of myths that have been out there about what we actually do.
You know, and this isn't just addressing the critics, which, Dan, I've got a little surprise for you. I've got an internet critic where I'm going to
Really?
introduce you to. Yes, watch out.
Okay.
Watch out now. The IQ is above 90 on this
This
one.
internet creature, I'm sorry, critic. Okay, let's hear what he has to say.
We will hear what he has to say, and we would just like to preface this with a couple of notes on this, okay? If you've been hanging around our YouTube channel, you've been looking at the shorts, I identify essentially three types of critics out there. The very first critic is a type of critic who I like to describe this person as an honest critic. This is someone that maybe have Googled Reid Technique. This is someone who may just be parroting whatever talking points they may have heard from someone else, but they haven't actually dived into it. It's just kind of through osmosis they've heard negative stuff about the Reid Technique. Those types of people, I give them a pass all day long. I give them a pass. Hey, you know what? I double majored in history and philosophy in college. And I still have an interest in philosophy. So through osmosis, being online, I listen to different kind of philosophy schools of thought. Derrida, Rene Descartes, some of our more French existential folks out there. So, but I don't know if that information is accurate or not. I haven't read any of the primary sources, Dan. I'm definitely not a professor. But but you couldn't blame me for getting, the philosophy of Foucault wrong. Okay, just because I haven't actually read any of that primary source material. So
Right.
I would be making an honest mistake, okay? No malicious intent. But then, Dan, we have the second type of Reid Critic that's hanging around out there. This person is a level up from the Critic that I was just talking about. And since I've been making some more of these YouTube shorts, I've started to encounter them mainly in the comment section, but I've been doing some reaction videos to them. These are people, Dan, who appear to have actually researched the Reid Technique, okay? I don't know if they bought our books. I don't know if they've, got a webinar. I doubt they've attended a seminar, but they know enough about the Reid Technique that I'm not willing to give them a lot of grace because they misrepresent what we teach so much. Just absolutely go bonkers with what we say out there.
Right.
And then not only that, but in some of the discussions that I've had with them, I've been accused of lying. And I'm like, lying? It's like I work for John Reid and Associates. If I say something, it should have some way. Like, why would I lie about what we teach? It's so easily verifiable, right? So the comment that I'm about to show, I'm leaning towards putting them in that second bucket, Dan. This person who is just maliciously, there's some malicious intent, it appears to be, from this person, okay? Now, with that being said, I stand to be corrected on that. Now, there is a third kind of critic out there, and this is not what this person is, but there are people out there, Dan, who they are captivated by technology. They're captivated by the supposedly latest, braiding, cutting-edge scientific whatever. They're always chasing the next shiny object out there. I call these people technocrats. The technocrats want to take the human element out of police work and out of private investigation work. They want to turn all human interactions into essentially a giant algorithm. And they have a particular hatred of the Reid Technique. But just like the wheel, we're not going anywhere. We are a very old design, but we are a reliable design.
That's right.
But for the viewers out there, you may have seen me respond to some of the critics. I needed to kind of reach out to somebody who knows just a little bit more than me, and that's Dan right here.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were talking about it, bringing in a guest. Are you sure, Frank?
I'm going to introduce this guest now. But Dan, so this person is making some claims. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen so you can see it. I'm going to read out his entire question for us so the listeners can hear him in his own words. And then I'm going to read out sentence by sentence and just get your feedback on this, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Matthew Dean, if you happen across this video, I am doing my very best to be as charitable as possible in interpreting your intent behind the comment. But the reason why I chose your comment versus several of those other comments that's showing up in the YouTube and in my email inbox is because you actually do a very good job of kind of summing up what a bunch of critics say about us. So it isn't that I dislike you. This isn't any ill will intent on my part. You just did a good job of it. So I'm going to share your comment on here.
Okay.
So, all right, with that being said, I'm going to hit share. I'm going to go over here to our little YouTube. There we go. All right, we have it brought up. Now I'm going to go here, and just so we can see it, just straight, we're going to go exactly to where our primary source material is. That's what we like to do, primary source material. So I've got this. I have his comment is pulled up, and I'm looking at it. Okay, our comment comes from Matthew Dean, 7825. He commented on one of our YouTube videos. So what I'm going to do is read out his complete uninterrupted comment, and after that, I'm going to ask Dan to comment by reading out bits and pieces of it. Are you ready, Dan?
Sure. Bring it on.
All right. The Reid Technique is repeatedly shown to fail. It rarely helps find the truth. Just because some criminals are convicted when the Reid Technique is used does not make it an effective technique. It often has nothing to do with the interview and everything to do with evidence. The premise is flawed. You don't ever try to eliminate people from an inquiry through interviews. You gather evidence and then use the evidence to challenge an individual. That in the U.S., you still think about interrogating suspects, not interviewing them, is so deeply flawed, it's idiotic. The U.S. is about 50 years behind the rest of the world when it comes to criminal justice and investigation methods. Dan, why did no one at John Reid and Associates tell me we were 50 years behind?
I don't know, Frank. It was a secret they were keeping from all of us, huh?
I
Like
kind of
at
figured
Area
so.
51. Yeah,
Area
yeah,
51.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Well, we have an updated version that's 50 years. Well, this actually goes all the way up to 2050, right? I think
Hmm.
that's being kept in Area 51 too. So,
That's right. Yes.
all right. So let me do this. How would you like to do it? Would you like for me to read out part of it, or
Yeah,
just give
let's
your
do
initial
that.
thoughts?
No, no,
Okay.
let's do that. Let's do that.
So let's take his very first two
Yeah,
sentences. Well, let's take his first two
yeah,
sentences. I think that's more grammatically
yeah.
correct for me. The Reid technique is repeatedly shown to fail. It rarely helps find the truth. All
What do
right.
you base that on, Matt? It's repeatedly destined to fail. I mean, are you an investigator? Do you have personal knowledge of it failing? We're not going to get 100% of people that are deceptive to admit guilt. And we always say in our programs that we teach is that uh, you can come with three conclusions in an investigation. You're truthful, you're deceptive, or you don't know. And we estimate that there's about 10% of people that you will interview in investigations that after you finish the interview, you say, you know what? I don't know if they're involved, not involved. It doesn't mean that they're a bad individual. It doesn't mean they're a step closer to being deceptive. They're inconclusive, and that's normal. Okay, but when you say it's destined to fail, uh, why is it destined to fail? I mean, we know the success that it has. Other investigators that attend our program know the success that it has. What do you base this on?
Yes, I think so. Let's take his first sentence. The Reid technique is repeatedly shown to fail. Like you said, I'm not seeing what he's basing that off of, so it's kind of hard to
Is
really
it
make
fail?
any.
Is it to fail about identifying truthful people? Is it failing to identify the deceptive? Identify or get people that are deceptive to admit guilt? You know, when you say it's destined to fail, well, you know, you're entitled to your opinion even though it's wrong.
All right, Dan, I think we've pretty much handled the first one. The Reid technique is repeatedly shown to fail. As you so clearly put, we're not exactly sure what he's referring to. So rather than just talking into a blob, let's look at the second sentence. It rarely helps to find the truth.
Really, it really
Yes,
helps to find the truth. Again, what do you base this on? Is there some statistics that you have that tells you it's to find the truth? And what is the truth? The truth is that is this individual that I'm talking to, are they telling the truth when they say they're not involved in the issue, or are they lying? When we interview people in our investigations, okay, it is designed to eliminate truthful people and help identify the deceptive.
exactly. And not only that, but even if there were some statistics, and I'm going to make up a statistic, 80% of interviews and interrogations using the Reid technique fail to yield the truth. Okay, I
Yeah.
made up a stat. How would they be pulling
How
those
are they going to
numbers?
twist that one,
Like,
Frank,
well,
around?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, right? But is there like a national database where if you're interviewing or interrogating someone, you have to put in what technique you were using? I
And
mean,
that's the other thing,
like,
Frank, too,
yeah,
is,
I
is
mean,
that
it's like,
people say, you know, that's just my blood pressure is rising with this. And again, I don't mind people that have different views that can base a criticism on something valid, but what are you basing this on as far as what you're saying? It just doesn't seem to hold any water.
exactly, yeah. I mean, it rarely helps find the truth. So let's take those very first two sentences as opinions. Here's the third
Most
sentence.
people, most people we talk to, Frank, are truthful.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we eliminate
yeah.
them from suspicion based
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
that interview. And another thing too is that if you're able to eliminate people in your investigation, is that that's doing a service to those truthful people. It's doing a It's helping the investigation center in on a deceptive individual.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think we can put these other two down. Let's listen to the third sentence. Just because some criminals are convicted when the Reid technique is used does not make it an effective technique. Let's Okay,
People are
it often
convicted.
has nothing to do with the interview and everything to do with the evidence.
Well, that's nice, and the Reid technique does not say is that you just ignore evidence. In fact, just the opposite. You want to rely on evidence in an investigation. You hopefully can develop evidence in an investigation, but before you start developing that evidence, you need an area to start at. Okay,
Exactly. Yeah.
if I got
And
100 people, how do we determine is that who might be involved, who might not be involved?
mhm.
I worked an investigation years ago. Somebody set a fire. There was 100 possible suspects. By interviewing these people, we were able to eliminate 99 of those individuals for starting that fire. Unfortunately, in a lot of investigations, not all, but a lot, there may not be any evidence yet to indicate who in fact did it. So if you don't have any evidence, just put that investigation on hold. If you're doing that, that's why crime rates about solving crimes is so low in major metropolitan areas, because it's not being investigated.
Mhm.
And sometimes you just can't have enough evidence or any evidence at the beginning of an investigation. Nobody says you ignore evidence. And the Reid technique certainly
Mhm.
does not do that.
Exactly. Yes. And there is a little part of the sentence I do agree with. It says everything to do with evidence. So if I get a confession from a subject, I'm not going to just automatically throw him or her in
Exactly.
jail. What am I going to look for, Dan? I think so
In the
those of
Reid
you,
technique,
yeah,
step eight in our 9 steps is after we obtain the admission of guilt from an individual. They're not being convicted because I say, yeah, I did it, okay? They're being convicted because they say, yeah, I did it, and they corroborate the details of their crime. And in
exactly.
that corroboration that is where many times evidence is obtained, where the gun is, where the bloody clothes are, where they stashed the property that was stolen, who they actually told in this. Then you could start developing these areas to validate what they told you. Do people
Exactly.
ever
Yeah.
admit to something they didn't do? Sure they do. Okay? But by using the Reid technique, we're preventing that, because in the Reid technique of step 8, you gather the corroborative details. You never just take a statement that, yeah, I did it, and that's what you're being convicted on. No.
You
Maybe
know,
in some third
yeah,
world
yeah,
countries they
yeah.
do, but not in. And that's another thing. What do you base on? You're saying is that the Reid technique is 50 years behind other countries. What do you base that on? The Reid technique is not uh, behind in other countries.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. And not only that, but this is something that I would like to bring up, and we're kind of jumping ahead of his
I
comment,
understand. I'm
but the
getting
very
so
oh no,
aggravated, Frank.
but the
Yeah.
very last comment or the very last sentence of his statement, he says, "The US is about 50 years behind the rest of the world when it comes to criminal justice and investigation methods." Can I make a insight statement on that?
Absolutely.
You know, so what country are we talking about? Are we talking about Russia? Are we talking about China, Indonesia, Thailand, the military dictatorship of Cambodia? Are those the nations that we're talking about?
Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah, Venezuela. That's right.
Right. Right.
I mean, what country are we talking about? But oh, wait. Let's assume that he's talking about a country that has a Western style institution of justice. Okay,
Right.
even if you take that, Look what happened to Amanda Knox in Italy.
That's right.
Uh, I don't want to get arrested in a country like Spain. I would be terrified. You don't have a Bill of Rights in most of these European Union countries. And not only that, in a bunch of those countries, if you were to take our seminars, right, and what's one of the things that we cannot do during an interview or an interrogation? We can't make promises of
Physical
leniency.
threats and
Yeah,
leniency. You can't make those. You can't
we
make
can't,
threats, promises and threats.
In some of those European countries, Matt, police can make promises. They can make promises to a criminal. And a lot of the methodologies that are imported into North America from the European criminal justice system, they leave out a bunch of those essential ingredients because police aren't allowed to use those tactics here in the United States. The Reid Technique, we are a child of the American justice system. We are informed by the United States Supreme Court. We don't care what they're doing in France. We don't care what they're doing in Brussels. And if anything, some of the recent controversies with regard to sexual assault, fraudulent reporting in Britain and Germany, I mean, how could you bring up the European Union model at all? I mean, it's just
Right.
it's just kind of a mind blown thing. So, but let's go on. So here's one for you, Dan. The premise is flawed. You don't ever try to eliminate people from inquiry through interviews.
Sure you do.
It's like,
It's exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay? Great. It's also because in these interviews, you're not just picking people off the street, grabbing them, saying, hey, I want to talk to you about this armed robbery. I want to talk to you about this murder, this rape, this child abuse case. No. Is that where do those people come from? From your investigation. Before an investigation, before you even start interviewing people, is that you know the crime occurred, and now you start investigating and start to identify who may have information that will help you in this investigation.
exactly, yeah. And it seems kind of weird, like the premise is flawed. What exactly about our methodology is flawed that you're supposed to interview everybody and see if their statement matches up
Where do you
to your
start?
phase one investigation? I mean,
Where do you start? Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
start
what
with,
if-
you pick up a phone book. I'm dating myself. And start with A and work your way through
Exactly.
Z. I mean, what do you do?
Now, the second sentence in his second paragraph, I'm a little confused as to what he means. Is he saying that we do this or we should do this? I'm not quite sure, but it says you gather evidence and then use the evidence to challenge an individual.
Why would you challenge an individual on evidence? Okay?
Well, this
Your
is-
evidence should
yeah,
stand
yeah.
on its own. The evidence helps the investigator in determining that the individual is or is not involved in the crime, okay? But just saying to somebody, and Frank, from your law enforcement experience, my experience of over 50 years in dealing with criminal suspects, telling somebody you have their fingerprints, you have their DNA, does not automatically mean, okay, yeah, I did it. No, that in an ideal world, that would be fantastic. But it's not that way.
I had a colleague, right, or a former colleague. He moved out of state. I believe he's up in Virginia now. He's working for a prosecutor's office, but he said that he had a case where this female victim had been sexually assaulted in the bathroom by a male suspect, right? And as the male suspect was leaving, he took a selfie with their phone to try and make it look like it was a consensual encounter in the bathroom, which goes to show the irrationality of a criminal, right? They
Yeah.
make all kind of like weird and crazy decisions. Well, my former colleague said that during the interview, he said, so you say that you were never in the bathroom? And the fellow said, nope, I was never there. I don't know why she would say it. excuse me. So he pulled up his laptop that had a picture of his selfie in the damn mirror with her in the background in the bathroom. And do you know what his response was?
Hmm.
That's not me. I mean, so like these people who are like, well, just gather evidence and just show them evidence. I mean, these criminals will laugh at you, fold their arms, they push back, and I mean, they'll look at you like, that's not me. I wasn't there. They just keep on denying. I mean, you can literally have all the evidence in the world. And some of these people, they have this weird math, like they're not mathing right, and they'll just deny. So,
And there's no guarantee from your evidence
yeah,
that the individual is going to be convicted. Okay?
exactly. And what if, which now I'm kind of revising my opinion of Matthew Dean here. Instead of thinking, well, hey, maybe he's just hasn't heard or the information, or maybe he's just doesn't understand, I'm kind of putting him in the technocrat bucket of our critics. He seems
I wouldn't give him that much credit, Frank.
Yeah. Dan, this salty investigator, no, we're not giving him that credit.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
So let us move. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes on. Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Move on.
Please go on.
You can
Yeah.
move on. No.
All right. So here's the last paragraph. That in the U.S., you still think about interrogating suspects, not interviewing them, is so deeply flawed it's idiotic. I'm not going to read the last sentence out because we already covered it. Who says we don't interview people? What the heck?
Interview.
What are you talking about?
That's what we say not to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to just interrogate somebody in an investigation. That makes your job 100 times more difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you just want to interview them. Yeah. It's just.
And the thing is that you're supposed to interview people first, even deceptive people that you maybe have a ton of evidence against. You always want to interview that person first, and that's going to make now, if you do decide to interrogate the individual, the ability to get that person to admit their guilt much easier for you.
Exactly.
And for them.
Yes. 100%, yes. So, in answer to your question, Matthew, we do interview. I mean, I don't, and it's in our name, the Reid Technique of
interviewing and
interrogation.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, I don't understand, but with that being said, Dan, that's going to be our critic for the day, for the moment, for the hour.
All right, Frank.
As, the devil has his hour, God has his day, as they like to say. It just kind of.
Yeah. Well, get somebody on here that can back up some stuff that they're going to criticize us on.
Well,
just don't make statements that if you don't like us, you don't like us. That's
exactly.
Up to you.
Yeah. I mean,
but don't say things that are false.
Thank you. Yeah, and for far too long, I think that John Reid and Associates has just been an easy target. I mean, it's probably the gold standard of interviewing and interrogation. We are. I mean, we're kind of like the Microsoft of our profession. We're just everywhere. There's so many schools that have started with us and then they became something different, but we're the source code for a lot of this. So,
and Frank, another thing too that I wanted to say is that some people, even though they may go say they use the Reid Technique, doesn't mean they use the Reid Technique.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, there is a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, okay, I read this book, or I heard it from a friend. He says, do this, do this. He attended the Reid course, so now, you know what? I know how to use the Reid Technique." No, you don't, okay?
Well, if you go on YouTube, Dan, and you type in Reid Technique, there's all these videos that supposedly show how bad and evil the technique is. And what they're showing, these interrogations and interviews, are legitimate. I don't want to say abuses of power because I think that's like a legal term, but
right.
They're investigators behaving terribly, very unethical, very unprofessional in this. But to go over and drag our name into that, we don't teach them to do that. I mean, to me, that's like someone who is a student at a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they're rolling around and they advance in belts and they're becoming ever more lethal in their ability to defend themselves. And they decide to go rob a gas station and they choke out an attendant behind the counter. You're not going to blame, Brazilian jiu-jitsu for that. You're not going to go after the school. I mean, it's like, this person abused their skills. They used it for something that they weren't taught to do. And that's another thing that we probably need to address in a future episode, because there's a lot of videos out there, and it's like, this cop used the Reid technique. And
exactly, and that's where
that's not the Reid technique.
And that's where a lot of this criticism comes from. People thinking, "Oh, I see this; they're using the Reid technique." It's not. The Reid technique. So
exactly, yeah. Well, Dan, I'm sorry to get your blood pressure up.
Okay, I got to take a Tylenol now.
Yeah, take a Tylenol. Don't worry about them. Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah,
low-hanging fruit.
exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah, all right.
That's it. Well, we appreciate you joining us, listeners and viewers. Appreciate it. We will be back here every Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's all get out there. Let's identify the guilty and eliminate the innocent.
And also, please, viewers, if you support what we do, what we're teaching in that, make us aware of people that are criticizing, that you find that are criticizing what we do or that. We'll gladly want to address those areas in that. It's far too long that we have not really come forward and addressed this. And I think is that by addressing it now is important, but we want to make sure people are informed of what's the correct way of doing things and what is not the Reid technique as well.
100%, Dan. I really appreciate it. I will see you again.
Frank?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.